Okay.
Oh.
Hello. I am
Hello.
Mattmatt. I'm joined by Hutch T,
Hello.
who's gonna explain this amazing game. Very broken. So I'll let you know when the timer starts. We use the speedrun mode because it helps us time some checkpoint restarts. Later in the game, but that time is irrelevant. Just ignore it.
It's very irrelevant. It's a little bit on the broken side. The timer. It doesn't. There's certain aspects that it doesn't time properly.
Right, so I'm gonna have the timer start when I restart checkpoint after changing skin because since wetsuit layer number 1, I need to use that, which is hope it's unlocked. Didn't break. No, wait. Yeah, okay. Right, so when I restart checkpoint, timer starts. I'll give you a countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, this is Uncharted 2, the best Uncharted game. It's not Uncharted 3 or 4. It's amazing.
No. Don't do the same mistake that I did during the marathon.
Hey guys, and this is Uncharted 4.
I was speedrunning Uncharted 1 and I announced it's Uncharted 4. Good start.
So this train climb is pretty boring. We can do a fast climb here at the start to get up a bit quicker if I can get it. Okay, so we can do 2 jumps there. They're kind of precise. Then another one here to get onto the pipe. There's a few seconds because usually you have to climb around it really slowly. So the first 2 chapters are kind of slow-ish. But there is a bunch of glitches we can do, like one coming up at the top of the train if you want to explain it.
Yeah. So when Matt's climbed to the top of the train, he's going to climb up, and rather than walk into a cutscene that involves him having to run through a falling train to get onto the cliff, he's actually going to skip that, or try to skip it. And what he's going to do is he's going to try and climb onto a part of the train that he's not supposed to be able to climb on. This allows him to actually run along the top of the train and actually jump off. The camera's going to go a bit weird at this point as well, because the game doesn't expect you to be at the point that you're at. So Matt's about to try and do it now, so...
Yes, we climb on the train. And then the camera's going to bug out because it doesn't know where we are. It's meant to think we're still on the train. So I use the inspect button to be able to see where I'm going. I have to maneuver here without being able to see to get into a gap here. So that says, what, 20 seconds?
Yeah, it's about 20 seconds. I think the whole reason why it saves that amount of time is because if you do it the normal way, not only do you have to skip a cutscene, but you also get a slow walking animation, which can only be sped up when you get the pistol, like Elena has now got, because you can spam the pistol, which gives you a more combat running speed as opposed to slow walking. So you'll find that spamming or holding the firing button is quite a lot faster in many respects, and it's easier than just jump spamming, which is what used to be the old movement tech for this game, which we kind of found out is there's not too much difference, but just spamming the gun is a lot easier than jumping.
It's easier to maneuver like around corners and stuff, so it kind of makes the movement more optimized if you're shooting compared to jumping, because if you're jumping, a lot of the times you can jump against the wall and stuff, which is kind of slow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a little tricky roll here. I want to kind of roll at an angle, and then I can jump across this ledge to try and end up on the edge of the pipe.
It's a slow shimmy along the pipe if you don't get to the very edge of it.
I'm just going to restart. I don't know. My angle was wrong when I rolled. It's fine. So as you can see, I'm on the edge of the pipe. That was what was meant to happen.
Yeah.
Did you want to explain this?
Would end up further up, but yeah, this next bit is a bit strange. So there's a climbing point in between the 2 train sections here. If you stand at the right point on the floor, you can actually climb up in between a gap that's actually really tiny, which I don't know how long is that saved.
Uh,
About 30 seconds.
Sure you know where
Is
you're
it
going?
roughly
Don't
20
know your way.
I think it's
seconds?
more like
Don't you love the
5
way
or
the
10.
water makes your jeans
Oh, really?
It doesn't say a lot. So right here, I'm doing a kind of tricky trick. I need to get ahead of Flynn.
It's like the good old days, isn't it?
And I need to be fast. This saves about 10 seconds if I can get ahead of him, but it's kind of hard to do. But thankfully, it actually worked for once,
Oh wait,
surprisingly.
this can't be right.
We can actually manipulate Flynn here to push him closer to the ladder. If I walk
Now
back
where
at a
you
certain
went
point,
that,
I messed
take
it
us
up.
right
Nice.
into the
Oh,
boiler
never
room.
mind. There we go.
And from there,
So you can only actually move Flynn here if
in like Flynn.
you
right?
do the
What?
trick to get ahead of him.
In like Flynn. I don't get it.
But getting ahead of him is hard. So if I make one movement mistake, he can knock me out of the way, and that's slow.
Yeah, I mean, the normal scenario here is that when you get there, you have to wait for him to climb up, and then you have to look up towards the top of this that you're climbing up now, and then you have to wait for Flynn to stop talking, and then he'll walk very slowly to the point where you can use the triangle prompt. If you get ahead of him on the pipes, the game again doesn't expect you to be there before Flynn, so it technically bugs him out, and you can move him into position, so it's a few seconds faster.
I'm gonna quick checkpoint restart here because it moves Flynn a bit closer. I don't think that one actually saves time while using a save. Also, I am using a save file because if the game crashes, I would not like to lose the entire run.
Yeah, unfortunately, these games have got a habit of if you don't use a save file during a marathon run,
All right.
on the rare
This is the way to
occasion,
the courtyard.
which is supposed to be a rare occasion, happens.
So
during
coming
the
up is
marathon.
kind of a weird skip. We don't know really why it works, but there's a cutscene coming up here which is meant to teach you how to take cover, kind of, against walls and stuff. But you can skip it by doing like mashing roll really fast when you go to take cover. Let me see if I can do it. If not, it only saves like 10 seconds, so it's not a big deal. I got it. So I go into photo mode because once you do that trick, is it you can't jump or you can't move the you can't jump. If you don't go into photo mode, you can't jump after you get out.
It's not necessarily that. So I think photo mode actually cancels any pending animations, because the game, if you don't do the photo mode,
Oh, explain
if
this.
you move, yeah, there's another skip coming up.
There's a lot of skips in this game.
Well, I can disarm it if we can find
Yeah,
the junction.
so this door, usually you'd have to kill the alarm and then go through the normal way.
Gotta be
But
around here
Elena's
somewhere.
so skilled that she just walks straight through it.
Yeah, so
Um,
okay, I think the game kind of checks like where the AI is, and it's like, okay, there's an AI there. So what it does is when you try to take cover in front of an AI, it puts you to the closest one available, which is actually on the other side of the door. So it just puts you through it, and you can skip turning off the alarm. It saves, I don't know how much time it saves, but it makes this part a bit easier as well. I think it skips another cutscene.
yeah.
There's a
usually
lot
a
to
cutscene with
explain.
Flynn.
So these guards, very good. As you can see, you can just punch them in the face. Very good. Oh, I did explain the thing that I just did, damn it. A lot of stuff's happened. I vaulted over
Do you want me
the...
to try and explain for you? Would that be easy?
But there's a lot of stuff to explain. Okay, I vaulted over a railing. And then I used the inspect button, because what that does is if you vault over a railing or a cover, it puts an invisible platform under you for like a few frames, and you can jump off of that, which allowed me to skip the actual cover tutorial.
Get this one. Wait here.
Thankfully, there's not too many skips now for like a minute or so, so I don't have to explain anything. It's great. So yeah, we have to turn off the alarm, get through this gate. So this next area is kind of annoying because there's a bunch of guards and we have to get through it without getting spotted. And sometimes, even if you take the exact same path, you'll just get spotted.
Yeah, it's really random. And sometimes when it happens, it goes through a loop of happening as well, which I think, for me personally, does kill a run, because it...
It loses like 40 seconds if you fail.
Yeah, it's really strange. You can literally go the same route, and for some reason they'll make us like, huh? And then it's almost like, that's it. You have a slight chance that even if you've been spotted, if you get to where you need to get to trigger the next cutscene, you can theoretically get through, but sometimes you only have to make one tiny mistake, and if they have spotted you, you'll literally jump down into the area where the trigger is for the cutscene, and it still won't trigger.
Yeah, if you can get spotted right before the cutscene is meant to trigger, and then it won't trigger. I think like no triggers will end up triggering if you're in a fail state, which is kind of annoying. But thankfully, didn't get spotted.
All right, let's take these guys.
So Matt's going to do another little trick here after taking out the guards.
Oh no, I'm in the wrong one. What am I doing? Don't spot me. Okay, good. So
There, that'll work.
you meant to move that cart, but if you stand on the very edge of it, and wait a second, you can actually trigger like a stagger animation, and that allows you to climb. Oh,
Okay, I've never seen him.
I saw that happen the other day. I don't know. I honestly think it happens if you take out the third guard first. I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, so that skips moving the cart, saves a few seconds. Now I'm gonna do technically the first actual clip. I think. No, it's not the first actual clip, but
It's an annoying one because you have to.
Thanks, mate.
it
You
doesn't save
have
much
to-
time. It's like 15 seconds or something.
No, but it's the problem is that you lose a lot more than you actually gain if you do it wrong.
Yeah, so we just take cover on that wall, and then we can take cover out of it and jump over here. It skips a cutscene. There's like 10-15 seconds. Like if you start out running this game, I wouldn't recommend doing that one because it's literally not worth it for the if you fail it. But it is if you practice enough, it's pretty easy.
Oh, gotcha. Pull me up. You put on weight, buddy. Up there. Shit, that was close. All right, no more donuts.
The restart checkpoint here again moves Flynn closer. And then another checkpoint restart because usually you'd have to wait for him to put the rope out. But if you restart, it just puts it on the wall for you.
I'm right behind you. As always.
This is on easy. Well, no, Explorer.
There's a guy above you. There's a guy above you.
Fastest difficulty is best.
There's a guy below you. There's a guy below you.
So, you have to climb this ladder here. You can actually climb it
Great view.
faster if you position yourself at a certain spot on that wall. Which I actually got, but I kind of did it slowly, so... Oh, I forgot to mention. So in this game, if you're jumping from a height where you would roll, you can actually cancel the roll by aiming as you land. So if you see the camera zoom in when I land, that's why.
For all those asking as well,
We can't get any
about
closer with the tower lit up
Elena
like that. What the hell's she
wetsuit
doing?
skin, there was no female voice acting
That's my
for the skin change, so you will hear Nathan Drake speaking throughout. And for those still wondering as well, it was part of a donation incentive, and Elena won. Because I've seen that pop up a few times in the chat, so...
Yeah, we just have to wait here. So after this next part is where this game gets really, really, really broken. A lot of stuff's gonna happen, and you're gonna have to explain it.
Oh yes!
Ladies first. Ah, cute.
I mean, it is quite weird hearing Nathan Drake's voice over Elena.
Thankfully, I can't hear the game.
Damn it, Flynn. Okay, now I'm screwed. Alright.
Yeah, more aim cancelling to cancel these
Thank you.
rolls.
Ah, crap. Yeah, there it is.
So yeah, rumours about this game being completely broken are true.
This way, this way.
This is the most broken Uncharted in the entire series, for various reasons.
Out of here. There we go. There we go. Gotta get to that ladder.
And you'll see that from chapter 3 onwards, because these first two chapters
Suckers.
were pretty, how can I put it,
Okay, I've planted charges all around
normal,
the perimeter of the camp.
should we say.
They're like normalish skips, but there's one thing in this game that is very broken, and that's the journal.
Detonator for you.
If you want to explain what it can do,
Yeah, so the journal can soft lock
Alright.
your character in
What's that?
two separate
Don't-
ways.
Touch the button. This one?
The first one that you're going to see is what we call journal launch. So
Set all the charges. Just hit the
all that
detonator
basically
button.
does
This
is
should
that if you
They'll never know what hit 'em.
if you time it correctly, when you go from an aiming animation to using a journal on the side of a ledge that gives you a staggering animation, you can actually launch up in the air at varying heights, and it seems to work better with a rifle as opposed to a handgun. Then we've got the journal airwalk. Actually, yeah, we do use the journal for the airwalk, don't we?
Yeah, right after.
That's
So I'm
what's
going to do the
off.
journal launch here. So we get on the edge where you can stagger. And then if we time it right and move at a specific time and open it, it'll actually launch us in the air, which allows us to skip a boulder and a bunch of platforming. But it also skips the fight in this area. And then we're going to do a journal extend, which is the same thing but not on a ledge. So we can actually walk slightly off of this ledge here.
But you're going to have to clear
And
the
allows
place
us to
out
jump
before you can
over this rock and skip nothing because I died.
So yeah, sometimes for some reason you don't get enough of distance on the jump, so you can actually jump to your death. Which again,
Been back by
there's a lot of stuff in this run that can kill the run because it loses way too much time.
You should be getting close to
Especially if
the
you've
first
got a
camp.
decent time
I've planted
already.
4 more charges in there, but you're
Because
going
they
to have to
lose
clear the place out
more
before
than
you
just
can
the
go.
odd few seconds.
Yeah, so I think that was the angle that was wrong there. But yeah, that's what was meant to happen. So it skips the fight in this area. And then we're going to do another thing with the journal. Everything's happening. So I'm going to do a zip. So I'm going to use this ladder. I'm going to trigger it at the right point. It'll zip me across to the side. So if you open the journal against collision in a specific way, it can actually launch you really quickly as well.
And it might be worth pointing out that on the PS3, this kind of stuff wouldn't, if it did work, it wouldn't work very well.
Yeah,
and
a
we
lot of
think
it's tied to
because of the
FPS.
double. Yeah, the physics in this game seem to be tied to the FPS, and because they doubled it on the PS4.
What?
Um,
Nice camera. So I'm gonna do another journal launch here. This one kind of only saves like 20 seconds, but I'm still gonna go for it. So we're gonna skip the trigger for this next fight area. So I need to do a very precise book launch here and get enough height so I can jump against this log without falling down like that. That's not what I wanted to do. If I do it right, I can actually jump against it. And be able to jump down the other side to skip the cutscene that would play, which skips this area here. It doesn't save much time because you could already skip this area, but it makes it a little bit faster.
but the thing is, once you've done skip the cutscene, you have to. Well, I'd say you have to wait behind the box. You can break away from it. It's a little bit of a pain to do sometimes, but
Did you explain the airwalk?
I haven't explained the airwalk. No, so Matt's coming up to a point here where he's going to skip a section of this level and this particular chapter. What he's going to do is he's going to take advantage of the journal again to do basically an airwalk, and he's going to pull out a grenade. He needs a grenade for this because he won't be able to get himself
Oh
out of
my
the airwalk.
god.
So yeah, unfortunately, he's just airwalked in the wrong direction. So what he needs to do, he needs to be on the left-hand side of the tree, and he's going to drop a grenade on the floor. This will actually break you out of the journal airwalk. It needs to be done because the soft lock, you can't break out the soft lock without the grenade. The other journal tricks you can, but this one you can't. But there will be 1 or 2 occasions where you might use it where a grenade's not required. Because the
Nice.
journal extend, there's one point where you kind of use that to do an airwalk, which actually launches you quite fast later on. So yeah, at this point, if you accidentally pull out a gun, how can I put it? So once you've broken yourself out of the soft lock, you can actually go straight back into the soft lock by pressing the journal button. Which I think, can you only do it the once afterwards, or yeah?
Well,
Because
you know you can keep doing it, but you need to blow yourself out with your grenade again. So.
Yeah, that skips a large section when you're climbing through some, or you're going through some ruins to find some resin and some stuff to do with the story. I've forgotten some of the story because I've spent so much time watching the speedrun that skips loads of it.
So coming up is
Okay.
there's a few hard skips in this game. This is one of them. You
Yeah,
have to
this one's
do
quite precise.
a really long airwalk for about 3 minutes to skip 2 chapters.
Go, go, go!
So I need to get 2 grenades here. So I need to kill these guys a specific way.
Keep your eyes open.
So this first guy here, if I stealth kill him, he'll drop 1, and then the last guy will always drop a grenade. I need to be fast because if I get the checkpoint before I pick them both up and then I fail the airwalk, I have to restart the chapter. So we're gonna do a big book launch here to get on top. No! Oh my god!
Now we just gotta find Chloe.
Grenade. You do a big
Okay,
book
so-
launch there to get up onto this roof. I hope that picked up the grenade before I got the checkpoint, because if it didn't, I'm gonna be very sad.
Yeah, because if something goes wrong, then
That should be alright. I don't really want to risk that, to be honest. Wait, let me see.
the bus driver was drinking on the job.
No, I'm not risking it. Because if I wait 3 minutes and then it doesn't work, then... Yeah, I only picked up 1 grenade.
So unfortunately, Matt's going to have to load chapter 5 again. Is it chapter 5? Yeah.
Wait. I can't.
Why?
Because it won't let me select speedrun mode. I'll just have to do it on a normal.
Yeah, you'll have to do it on normal. So, yeah, unfortunately, you need to pick up the grenades, because if you get a checkpoint before you've got the grenades, the game won't restore them. You need, for this point, you need 2 grenades. Because after the first airwalk, he's going to need a grenade to get himself out of another airwalk. Without that, he could get around it, but it would take quite a bit longer to get around that. This game is, unfortunately, it's quite punishing as a speedrun. But it's also quite rewarding once you're able to do the speedrun and actually get better times for that reason.
The old market.
Even though I've screamed at it a number of times, and myself.
That's how I feel right now. Like that, the me not picking up that grenade isn't hard. I literally just completely forgot to pick it up, even though I mentioned I needed to pick it up like 2 seconds before.
We'll blame Elena.
I think it's because I wanted to explain the book launch and I just forgot about the grenade. Anyway, I won't forget it this time. Like, failing the airwalk isn't too bad, but not picking up the grenade is just not good. Right, I actually got it that time.
Okay.
Exactly that. That's how we feel about it, especially in UC1. She's a bit frustrating in UC1.
Oh, there we go. That should be fine. Oh no, it's still terrible. Okay.
So there's a couple of areas where we rely on the speedrun timer to know when best to restart checkpoint. Because some areas, when you restart checkpoint, it will actually push you a little bit further ahead, as opposed to restart from the point that you're at.
There we go. There we
Yeah,
just airwalk for like 3 minutes.
This airwalk is quite precise. If you're not at the right angle, then when you need to take yourself out of the airwalk with the grenade, you won't be at the right point, or you'll hit a wall. which is essentially quite a big fail because it does take a few minutes to actually run through. But as you can see, she's running off into the sunset. It's pretty normal behaviour. This is the kind of thing we do in real life, especially when there's no floor underneath you and you're just walking in the air.
So the sky's going to turn black soon. When that happens, I need to time some pauses to make sure I don't get stuck in a building, but not too far that I go past the building I want to go into.
So there's some areas of the game that actually have they're quite weird. So I presume it's the way it's been coded, but if you use photo mode as an example, like right now, there is actually stuff there in the surrounding, but it's technically not loaded in. But you can use photo mode and camera angle to get the game to load in specific parts of the level.
You know, this might actually still fail. So I thought the angle was right, but I was really far to the right on the wall when I started it.
Oh, Disco, bringing in the puns. That looks okay.
Well, we'll find out. If it doesn't, then I have to do it all over again. Hey.
But yeah, this is it's very punishing.
That's fine.
3 minutes of walking in the air to get to that point and realise it's failed is quite painful.
Oh, this game. You're triggering the airwalk there without with his gun.
So this is why Matt needs the second grenade. Because what he's going to do is he's going to knock himself out of this airwalk. Without this, he'd probably have to go the slow way round, which is quite annoying. It's the scene with the helicopter. I mean, you can skip it, but then you've got to do some journal extends and journal launches just to get there. This jump can go wrong. It's really weird how it works. Sometimes you can grapple the ledge. Sometimes you can actually go far enough to jump over the ledge and land without killing yourself. Other times she just, or he, should I say, Nathan, won't grab the ledge.
Go.
All right.
Rowdy, that kind of thing, a lot of painstaking airwalking. In terms of doing that, how long did that take? Because we were doing an older way and it was much
There's so
worse.
many ways to do that airwalk.
There is loads of ways. There is one that's quite quick to do, but it's even more precise than those airwalks you just saw. And not only that, if you get to the end of it, there is a massive chance that you can get blown up by a gas can, because when you drop the grenade to get yourself out of the airwalk, it will just blow you up.
It's now we're in chapter 7. So that airwalk basically skipped all of chapter 5 and 6. This guy memeing me.
The next area, Matt's going to use a very fast airwalk using the journal extend method, kind of using the collision, which skips this section where you have to climb up, knock some, throw down some gas cans, blow up some cars, move them into position so you can cross the fast flowing water. Matt's not going to do that. He's just going to fly across.
Zoomy speed.
What's the purpose of shooting on the ground? So, if you see Matt randomly shooting his gun for no reason, when he's just running around, shooting the gun whilst you're moving is actually faster than normal walking, and is technically slightly faster than jump spamming, which used to be the old method of movement tech for areas that you're not skipping.
Come on, this way. Those are resistance fighters.
Another little skip here. Usually you would be shimmying quite slowly along that, but it's also another zip that Matt's going to do now.
All right.
There's a few seconds of jump walking or whatever.
It looks so silly. It's so broken. There is skips pretty much all the way through this game.
Nice. Yeah, so I'm gonna skip going around here by just air walking across this gap.
must be a hidden entrance here somewhere.
Saves. How many times does it save? Don't actually know.
I
Not
would
a
say
lot.
it's probably about 10 seconds.
There is a faster way to do it, but this run's already a travesty. I want to make it worse.
What causes the zips being on the right angle? Yeah, so it depends on the angle in which you're doing the airwalk. If you're on like the corner of some collision, because you're soft locked into a particular animation, if you're touching a solid object or if you're at the corner of something, I think it builds up momentum, which after you've broken away from that, it just launches you. It's used a lot more now than what it was on the old route, because it wasn't. I don't think it was really a thing on the old route, but so many have been found.
Chloe, this isn't just a dagger.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, let's find out what it opens.
Pretty
So
creepy.
just have to watch a few cutscenes.
First game has cool skips where you skip whole chapters. Yeah. I mean, the thing is though, with Uncharted 1, the majority of that is through aim clipping, so you can spam your aim gun,
Do anything?
spam aiming with your gun, and then just walk through some walls. I think this requires quite a lot more skill. This is so many times harder than all of the other Uncharted games in the series to speedrun.
Ladies first.
If you say so.
Takes a lot of patience to.
It's really hard
learn
to, you know,
this.
pick up a grenade
God, I'm not claustrophobic.
and having to restart the chapter.
But saying that, this is the most rewarding one out of all of them if you can finish a run.
You know, it's actually kind of romantic.
So Uncharted 3 only really has some
You never were a
zips.
chocolate and flower kind of girl.
Oh, you know me
with
better.
cover aiming.
Probably.
There's maybe
Little bit of a
one or
drop.
two places that you can get out of bounds, but don't really lead to much. Uncharted 3 is essentially near enough, I suppose.
Maybe I-
Actually, no, there is.
It has a bunch
few,
of
isn't there?
skips, but
It does have a
it's
few, but
there's a lot
it's-
of sections where there's nothing. So
Yeah, there's like virtually no gameplay.
Got me.
Uncharted 4, unpatched,
It's opening up down here.
there's a few places.
the upper airwalk.
Ah,
Explain.
yes. Right, so you can essentially use the journal here as well to do an upwards or downwards airwalk. It depends on how far you are to the edge, but we're going to use this to skip some of this arm puzzle.
Yeah, it's kind of precise, but. Then we drop off this ledge and land on this eyebrow. It's amazing.
You have to be careful there because sometimes you can you can drop off the wrong point and sometimes actually miss the eyebrow. It sends you all the way back. I think what's amazing about
Chloe,
these games as well is that
adjust the other reflector.
when you look at them from a casual perspective, you know, they're masterpieces of games, and you wouldn't think that they were broken like they are, but
Very broken.
oh,
That did it.
I mean, I would never have known playing these games casually that they were as broken as they were. So if
Got it.
when you see Matt shooting randomly whilst he's just running,
What?
One
Nice.
more blade to go.
shooting your weapon is faster for normal movement than jump spamming. And in this game, every time you restart a checkpoint, you get free ammo anyway. So and plus, you can always pick up another gun anyway. So and not only that, it can cancel some animations as well.
We just need to adjust that other reflector.
So, Coming up is another new, well, not a new trick, but one we haven't, one we haven't explained yet. Is the backwards cover clipping. So if you are in cover, aiming away from it with a pistol, and you move side to side, you actually get clipped inside of it a bit, and then if you get out of cover while you're clipped in it, you can actually get launched backwards through it. I'm gonna try and use this to skip having to go down the mouth that opens up right here. It doesn't save much time. It's like what, 5-10 seconds, something like that.
This can technically go wrong as well. If
Yeah,
it launches you the wrong way, it will kill you and it will put you back up on that platform.
If we get on the roof, we can actually activate the triangle prompt from up top, and that's nice. This game is doing some really weird things. I don't like it.
Yeah, this ladder here, climbing it is a bit weird. Sometimes you literally won't climb up, or it won't jump, and then it will just drop down.
Yeah, we can't skip that puzzle because that trigger doesn't activate until you've actually done the last arm, so we have to do that, unfortunately.
Has there been any big recent discoveries? There's been quite a few discoveries, but it's only the routes. The routes have been changed a little bit. If you're going for the more advanced route, there's a few more zips. I think it's mainly the zips, ain't it, Matt? It's changed.
Yeah, not much has changed apart from adding some zips in.
But the zips do kind of change things up a little bit because, I mean, you have to get the zips right anyway because it will still launch you in the wrong direction. If you can't break away from them, then you've got to restart checkpoint. And that thing's happening to Mattmatt again. Yeah, pretty much.
All the bad stuff happens to me. So we get the pistol there off that last guy because it's a lot more precise. Yeah, we're way too fast there, so she just gets teleported to us. Don't. Are you serious?
Oh, wow.
I'm not even gonna bother because he's just gonna shoot me. I don't. This is doing everything that I've never seen before. It's great. Love it.
This is definitely a sort of Mattmatt happening.
Look, he's
moment.
nowhere near me. What? Nice. Yeah, we need the pistol because it's a lot more precise to kill these guys. In this area.
Nick, there's quite a few differences. So you can essentially do an airwalk in the PS3 version of this game, but it involves you spamming the inspect button, which if you do it the right pace, you can essentially walk for a fair airwalk for a fair distance, but you always drop in quite slightly. I'm not sure how that works, but it's yeah, it's.
Come on.
Yeah, this is Jeff. The guys you didn't donate for. I'm very disappointed.
So yeah,
The
Jeff
star
is
of the
like
game.
The star of the game that gets about 2 minutes worth of airtime. But yeah, in terms of the other games, I think the main difference really is the change in the engine in terms of the frame rate. Because a lot of the skips are still technically there, but they're either easier or harder with the 60 FPS.
Stay with me. Heads up! Elena!
Yeah, if you see me, my camera zooming in here, it's just because Jeff has this stagger animation where you have to stop moving and it slows you down, but if you aim, it resets the time for that animation, so if we tap aim every few seconds, it won't happen.
There is Lost Legacy as well, this go.
Come on, up the stairs.
So, there is actually 6 games. Well, there's 6
known you like
should we say, normal games in the series. There is like a puzzle, a mobile puzzle game as well, which is terrible.
It's amazing. What do you mean? It's the best game.
Keep going, keep going.
What's it called? Uncharted Fortune Hunter. That's the best game in the series by far. If I roll there, basically, if you run to that edge, it's going to give you like a slow motion jump in, but if you roll off of it, you don't get that. So 3 seconds.
Up this way. Elena, come on, you gotta jump.
So in this next area, I need to get a grenade and a shotgun and a pistol, because I need to be able to have the grenade for the airwalk and then the 2 guns to start the airwalk. Also, there's another Elena. Don't worry about it.
There's the water tower. Run out. Hit them off.
So to get the grenade, I need to stealth kill this guy, which will drop the grenade. I need the shotgun, kill this guy, take his pistol, and then kill the rest. And that, then I can do my airwalk. Also, I should point out, but you can't actually open the journal while there's enemies around, so we have to kill them all to be able to use it.
Yeah.
Gotta find a way up there.
Dude.
So Matt's going to do a journal launch here, journal launch airwalk, should we say. Sometimes if you're lucky and get the right angle, you can actually airwalk straight into the cutscene above. If you don't stop here at this point, because if you hit that ledge, it will make you walk on the ground. Not sure why that is, but these games were... I thought they were really good on the PS3. I thought, graphically speaking, and just the games themselves, I thought they were really good. But the PS4 has shown they've not aged too well, really. But they did do a good job with the remaster.
Let's get up here for a better look. There's gotta be a way out of here.
So yeah, this area is not really much to speak about. So Matt's going to be fighting some enemies here when the train goes down the track and crashes. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to try and finish the level as quickly as possible. So we worked out that if you kill specific guards, it triggers the next wave of guards quicker.
Look at that face.
So you don't actually have to kill. You don't actually have to kill every single guard. So the ones that we're going to be focusing on the most are the shielded shotgun guys and the guys wearing the orange hats. If you kill them, they tend to trigger the next waves. Once the machine gunners come out, we're going to wait for a specific moment that Elena, the other Elena, is going to drive in and save us. But we're going to take a little risk and jump out the window. And try and trigger the cutscene early, because the cutscene seems to be tied with the actual Jeep itself once you've touched it. So we're going to wait for it to appear. Then Matt's going to take a risk and go out there. It's not too bad. Sometimes if you feel like you're going to be shot by the snipers, you just have to roll and it will cancel the shot.
I keep moving my hands up to go to split, and then I realise I'm not using.
The monastery chapters are the most punishing. Most of the time, loss is actually at monastery. You might see that later. I don't know. Hopefully, not for Matt's sake. But so this is the. This is gonna skip how many chapters? Like two.
Two, yeah.
Two. 2 chapters. So Matt's gonna. Matt's gonna cover Shimmy off of the edge of this train, and it's actually gonna. It's going to soft lock Elena up in the air. So she's now actually still covering, but against thin air. At this point of the run, it's actually about, is it 4 or 5 minutes?
You have to wait for about 4 minutes and do nothing,
Yeah.
so...
You have to wait 4 minutes, and unfortunately, and this is a word of warning, there's going to be a lot of camera movement and shaking.
It's already starting.
What Matt's going to do, you can aim your gun.
I don't
this
want to
point.
because it might risk the...
Yeah. So if Matt aims his gun, it will risk a potential skip up ahead. So what happens is that when the train reaches, because it's on a looping track, so once it reaches round to the loop and gets back round to Elena, essentially you can load in the second chapter and actually finish the chapter straight away. If you don't aim your gun, there's a very high chance that when the train loops around, you can skip a boss fight. Gives you a little tiny cutscene that you can skip straight away. If not, and it doesn't work, you end up losing, I think it's about, is it like 15, 20 seconds?
Yeah, if you
Something
don't
like
get
that.
the fast cutscene, you have to wait an extra 20 seconds or so. Which, if you're going for a PB, is bad, but for a marathon it wouldn't be so bad. But as
Yeah.
long as you can clip off the train, you're always going to get the skip no matter what, so...
I mean, if there's been any donations at this point, this is probably a good time for any donations as well, if there's anything to read out.
No, it's been pretty quiet so far.
Oh, okay. Damn you people, donate!
Yeah, so... camera is amazing. Very
Yeah,
wild.
It's, essentially, this is much like what happened during Chapter 1 when we climbed on the train. Cause
Then Stara, this area, this train goes on a loop, and there's 3 separate areas that the train can go into, but it only takes you to the next area if you progress further on the train. But if we just wait, it'll come back around, and we can hit the trigger on the other end of the train and skip to Chapter 15 without doing any of the train, which is nice because these levels suck.
Momo, so the movement that Matt took to get to this point was that he took cover against the point on top of the train at the start of this chapter, and then he shimmied, so he moved. The movement on the controller itself is left stick to the right, and then kind of roll it from like upright round to the left, and then do that sort of in a fairly consistent motion.
See, I don't know
And
when I can
eventually
get
you
ready
shimmy
to
off.
skip the cutscene because I can't see the timer.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I'm gonna have to pay attention for the triangle. I'm gonna have to stare at the bottom right hand corner, because if you stare at the bottom right hand corner, eventually you'll see a triangle pop up. I don't want to touch that, but about 5 seconds after that pops up, it should give me the cutscene.
To be fair, it's getting fairly close now because the camera's
Yeah.
calmed down.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not doing that movement with the camera at all. If he was to aim his gun right now,
Basically,
it would zoom straight back to Elena
Yeah.
aiming her gun from a covering point in midair.
what's happened is the camera is tied to the train. So like, it's trying to go back between Elena. Well, Nate, you get my point. It's trying to go back between Elena and the train. But since it can't do that, it just freaks out.
Yeah. So the triangle prompt that just came up there, that means we just went past the normal point, and yeah, Matt got the skip here. Usually, if the cutscene doesn't kick in now, then you'll get another cutscene where you fall through a train. But that takes a little bit longer to show up. So we're
Wow, I started to run
essentially-
again. Oh my god.
We're essentially back at chapter 1, but this will go a little bit quicker, and there will be a different area that will be in. There's no real skip here. We can't jump on top of the train this time round because
Well, you can, but it wouldn't lead anywhere.
yeah, it won't go anywhere.
So we can do the fast climbs again like we did in chapter 1, but they're actually harder in this chapter because it doesn't give you a buffer to set it up. You have to just do it. Whereas in chapter 1, you climb really slowly, so you can actually take your time to like position yourself to get it. But in this chapter, you can't. So you just have to kind of do it. But thankfully, I actually managed to do them because those fast climbs actually lose like 10 seconds if you don't get them. So
Star, just to answer your question, I was discussing this with Matt this morning actually. We are contemplating it because the Uncharted community has grown quite a bit recently. It's a lot more active than what it was for quite a while. There is a lot more people running it now, so we are thinking about it. There may be some new categories popping up soon.
yeah, you can actually see what it's meant to look like if you didn't do the skip at the start. Also, I've died here before and lost like 30 seconds. It was a good meme. But yeah, you just have to jump to the train and get off at the end.
find out a man's voice sometimes. Yes, Elena. So, again, as was mentioned earlier, the skins in this game do not come along with the voices for that character.
Well, it comes along with the grunts, but not the actual dialogue.
Yeah.
Terra firma.
So we're gonna do a fight. Pretty easy one, but it can lose you some time.
Yeah. It all stems around the scene involving throwing a grenade at a train that's ready to blow up. If you don't time it right, then the enemies will actually stay alive, and then you have to kill them, which takes a little bit longer. And these guys here as well, they have a little bit of an RNG element to them. Sometimes
That's the
they
first
will
time
literally-
that's happened in ages where he's gone that way.
Yeah, usually they would walk towards you rather than step away. But on the rare occasion, they will actually just walk away and hide. Elena's a goddess, she don't need shoes. It's dust to her. There is no coldness. Casual playthrough, hardest area. How about you, Matt? When you played casually, what?
Not a clue. I haven't played this game normally. When was the time I played? I haven't played this game properly all the way through with cutscenes and everything since I played it in like 2012,
I got it. Follow
which
you.
was a very long time ago.
Go somewhere.
But actually, no, I did play it because I played it on Question. I don't know. I'd say
What?
maybe the fights in chapter 25 are kind of hard,
Oh, there you
but
go.
we're not going to do those. Spoiler.
There you go.
So what Matt's
Oh!
doing here is during this chapter,
You want to explain this? I'm not going to try it for very long, but you can explain it.
I will explain it. Brace yourselves, if Matt gets it, it's... You thought the launches were broken. Wow. Okay, well, during this chapter, so what Matt's doing here is, because you're walking slowly through the village, if you spam the inspect button periodically after each roll, then you can actually do a roll, which moves quicker. But yeah, going into chapter 17, so Matt's going to try and do a skip here that I was very unfortunate to kind of partly find alongside one of the other Uncharted 2 speedrunners by the name of Faye French. This is one of those skips that is really annoying to do. So one day, accidentally, I was messing around on the side of these rock faces, and I accidentally found out that the collisioneer is a bit broken. If you walk into a specific point, like what Matt's doing, you'll bounce between two sections of the rock, and with the momentum building up because of the increase in the FPS, it actually launches you faster than anything else in this game launches you. You will be...
I really want to get
launched.
just the launch, even if the skip doesn't work, just to show it off.
It's absolute nuts. It can save... How long does the...
It saves about 5 minutes if you get it really quickly.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's so random that sometimes it's not viable, but if you've got a decent time and you're trying to save as many seconds as possible, if you can do this, then fair play to you. At one stage, we did kind of ban it because of how ridiculous it is, but it caused a bit of an uproar, so we re-allowed it.
Well, I'm not going to try it for too much longer because
Yeah,
I'm just going to waste too much time trying to do it. I'm going to try it once more and I'll just do the level normally. Because this could take like up to 20 minutes to get. It's that inconsistent.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it normally. If you want to see what that looks like, watch my PB. If you actually really want to see it. Yeah, this level's kind of... I don't mind this level, but it is nice to skip it because there's a lot of waiting around.
Yeah.
What?
So there is essentially going to be a cover breach
Yeah, good luck, pal.
a cover
That's
clip
almost
coming
impossible.
up.
Oh, you did it.
That can also kill runs, but there are ways to get around it.
Let's just swing across.
There are some other strats. So depending on how Matt gets on with it, I'm going to try the hardest way first. If that don't work, then it'll be... well, essentially the next way to do it is fairly easy, but... The PS4 version, I would say, is better because of the increased
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
FPS. It just makes it easier to play. But yeah, I mean, if you don't own the Uncharted collection on the PS4, then I would say to get it because, I mean, you're getting 3 games in one and you could probably get it really cheap now anyway. And they are still good games casually in their own right. Maybe Uncharted 3, objectively Uncharted 3 is a bit iffy because there's some chapters that are quite boring, but they are still all good games.
Oh, that way.
Matt's playing this on the PS4 Pro.
Those things bite, you know.
So after you run this rope across, you have to... Here, there's a rope on the wall that you have to jump and swing across, and sometimes, for whatever reason, when you try to jump off it, she'll just jump and kill herself. Don't know why. It's pretty stupid. So I'm gonna wait a sec for Tenzin to get off, because if I go too early, I can land on it.
And you just fall to your death. Or sometimes when you actually grapple that rope and do the swing across, you press jump, but she don't jump properly for some reason, and she misses the ledge entirely. So you could swing across normally, but you just don't jump.
So coming up here after this cutscene is a little skip. So you're meant to hold the triangle prompt on this ladder so Tenzin can boost you up it. But you can actually... The triangle prompts in this game are pretty broken if they're really close to collision. You can actually clip through walls with them. But I'm going to make it so I clip slightly up against the rock so I can actually get myself higher and actually climb the ladder without using the cutscene.
Yeah, I accidentally found this, but after the first sort of 2 or 3 times I managed to find it, I then forgot how to do it.
Nice.
So Matt ended up working on it to find it.
Yeah, so like that. Then we can get the cutscene with Tenzin. Oh my god, I thought I was going to kill myself.
But yeah, to answer your question, Mattmatt10111, yeah, I would say so. They're all conveniently on one disc, or essentially all on one download. They play a lot better. They do look a lot better than the PS3 counterparts. And on top of that, you don't have to sit there waiting for about 5 minutes each time you're skipping a level or loading a area in. So
this game really hates me.
I'll catch you.
And I would say if you're going to do speedruns as well, even though the PS3 version of each game is harder, I'd say these are more enjoyable to do.
Yeah, so this rope, if you've ever played this game casually, is very notorious for you not figuring out the way to do it, because technically, logistically, you're meant to swing further to go further, but you actually need to jump off it really early to go further. So if you were playing this casually, you'd swing on it for a really long time and then jump off, but if you just jump off instantly, you'll make it. But if you try to swing too far, you won't.
See, I've noticed if you just run off that ledge as well into the rope, you can make it, but if you literally jump from the edge of that cliff, it don't work. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's pretty broken. Believe it or not, but a few years ago, a lot of runs used to die. Well, not die, but most people died to that. Because we still didn't know exactly how to do it properly.
What did this?
That is actually pretty good on the PS4 if you don't skip anything, which I won't since I play it casually. I mean, if you're playing it casually, the whole idea behind the cutscenes anyway is to allow each area to load in. So by the time the cutscenes are finished, essentially the next area is loaded. But I mean, as you'll see from Lost Legacy when it comes up, skipping the cutscenes seems to reload the entire areas back in.
This area we're about to get into as well is what the skip I was trying to do at the start would have taken me to, is this next area, which would have skipped all of what I've just done. But coming up is actually probably the most stupidest skip in the entire game. So there's a bunch of Yetis you meant. Well, there's a Yeti you meant to fend off. But you can just roll up this rock. I don't know what the developers were thinking. I really don't. But you can literally just roll up this and get enough height to climb up and skip the entire thing. Great game. 10 out of 10.
Sorry for laughing over you then, but I read the comment from Prime. She's going to catch a cold. Her horse is... her horse? Her voice is already hoarse.
That'll work.
Nice.
Sorry. That tickled me. Thanks, Prime.
So we're doing a journal extent to get around this little bit of climbing. Saves a few seconds. So right here, I need to check on restart. I know when to restart because I can see the timer, but I can't. But
We're getting somewhere.
that should be
I
enough.
think it's about there where, yeah. Another visual clue is pausing the menu and seeing that it's loading in. So it's greyed out where it says restart checkpoint because it's essentially saving.
So coming up is 17 skip is the hardest skip in the game, which is the one I couldn't get. But this one is
used
probably
to
the
be.
second hardest skip now.
Yeah.
I basically need to clip or backwards cover clip through a wall, and I need to do a frame perfect roll to be able to grab a ledge. Now, if I can't get it after a few tries, I'm just going to do a different route, which loses like 40 seconds.
This has been a run killer a lot in the past. But
Yeah. If most of the runs that do 17 skip now, well, as mine, don't do this skip because 17 skip. Excuse me. 17 skip is so random that trying to do this skip as well after the fact is just very difficult.
Down there.
To reactivate this, you don't actually have to activate this, but I'm doing it to get a checkpoint. We always do it to get the checkpoint because if you don't, you have to do all that again and it wastes too much time. So yeah, and let me see if I can get it. It's really hard.
Theo is just a skin. It was part of a donation incentive. So yeah, there's a split moment that you're actually on a ledge still when you've clipped this wall with the cover clip. If you time it correctly, and as long as you've got the left stick held down in the right direction, you can actually roll off of that ledge
Like that.
and grapple a wall. So this can, unfortunately, even at this stage, I mean, I'm notorious for this. Like, I think I've done it, and then I fail it, and then I can't get the skip afterwards. It is a bonus unlockable. I believe there are certain parts of the game that you need to have completed in order to unlock the skins. Like with Wetsuit Elena, I think is defeating or beating the game on crushing. Is that right?
Hard.
Hard, right? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do another. This is one of the newest skips in the game. It saves like 20 seconds. It skips the cutscene with the platforms, but it actually is pretty difficult. So
If Matt doesn't get the
what?
Wow.
Okay. Thankfully, I was
Okay, that was
high enough
okay.
on the ledge to drop down
Yeah,
onto it. but-
usually there, when you do like a journal launch there, she will just walk onto the ledge and she won't be that high up.
That's not gonna work. Didn't get enough height, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, we can hit a checkpoint there, and it skips the cutscene, saves like 20 seconds. And then this next area is kind of like a waiting thing, but we're gonna skip that as well. So you meant to shoot a switch and then a bunch of the things come and you just wait it out until the platform above comes down. But we're just gonna airwalk up into it and hit the trigger.
It was very nice of the developers to leave the trigger for the cutscene on the platform.
Hey,
She's
there's a switch.
walking in the-
So the game's gonna kind of quiet down for a little bit because the next 2 chapters are all combat. There's not really much we can do in terms of skipping stuff, but it's not very long. Also, you don't have to shoot this guy in the first part. As soon as he hits you, then shoot him.
See, I always thought that you had to shoot him. I only found out when I watched pretty much one of your last speed runs of this, and then worked out. I was like, hang on a minute, he's not shooting him.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you don't need to do. Like play the game in the first place, don't do it. So, right here, we're going to just kill the... Wait, where is he? What's he doing? Just going to kill the brute guy with the armor on. Because that triggers the checkpoint when you kill him, where it gets rid of all the enemies. And we need to actually kill them, because if we don't, Tenzin will die when we try to run past this area.
Not really much to say about this chapter, is there? 'Cause there's no
Not really, just a bunch of optimized fighting. Like, you can lose runs on this though, because these fights are pretty optimized at this point. You're not
So if I remember correctly as well, it was Oven Donkey, weren't it, during a GDQ run?
It wasn't Oven
ages
Donkey,
ago?
no.
Who was it that found...
There's some random guy, I don't know his name.
Oh, was it?
It's just not Oven Donkey.
They accidentally airwalked from the rock where the first explosion goes off there, down that path, and ended up in the next area, I think, which they've got to skip out of, but I don't know if they were able to do it again afterwards. I know you can...
No, their game crashed.
The game crashed?
Yeah, because it was on PS3. This game doesn't really handle loading very well on PS3. So get this grenade launcher, kill these two guys, that guy, don't be bad at that guy, and just kill the rest. There should be 3 left. Excuse me. Wait, is he... What's he doing there? Wait, he didn't die? Dude, this is so good. Wait, no, he's dead. You kill them all, restart. I'm glad I saw him go around that thing then, because I was about to restart.
This next bit, this entire chapter is a little bit annoying. The start of it's not too bad. It's the last part, because you can skip a portion of it, but if the skip goes wrong...
Whoa! Did you see that dude's body? Nice.
You get absolutely battered by the tank. Especially if you do it too slowly, you have to be really quick. Again, this is another thing that's lost a hell of a lot of time on runs. I know on my PB for this, I swear I lost about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes to the tank.
No, it's about 2 minutes.
This question, how will Elena look? In what sense?
This way.
Well, if she's been battered by the tank, it depends actually. Did they include like bullet holes and blood marks on the characters for this?
I don't think so, no. Oh, I should point out as well, I am actually playing on the Japanese version, so the damage icon is not actually red, it's grey, if you were wondering. It doesn't save any time, but the Japanese version does save about 6 seconds at the end of the game.
Those great 6 seconds.
I know, worth it. Basically, there's an enemy at the end of the game that dies like instantly on this version, but doesn't on the others. Don't know why.
Also, I'd like to point out that Uncharted 4 is the worst Uncharted in the series. Discuss. Because it is. It's not good.
No.
The part of this game is that they're trying to reach a place called Shambhala, which is a place that holds like a fountain of youth. And the bad guy in this, Lazarevich, he's trying to get hold of a sap from the Tree of Life, I think, in Shambhala.
Lazarevich killed Jeff.
Where did he go?
He's sad.
Lazarevich kills Jeff. Bad times.
And then the rest of the game is about us avenging Jeff. Don't look into it, that's the story. Yeah, this is the tank. Well, this section is what we call the tank because this is where we actually have to fight it. So I need to be fast, so to not take a lot of damage from the tank. Because you can actually skip, if you play this casually, you basically have to go to each rooftop and get an RPG. If we run right to the end area, there's a bunch of them that we can just take and use those to blow it up instead.
Yeah, and basically max nuts at this point. If Matt gets stopped by one little thing here, this will kill him. And there's an RPG guy waiting to shoot him on the roof as well.
So you have to shoot it four times.
Whoa, that was close.
There we go.
Also, Spring, yeah, you'll really enjoy these games. Playing through them, even casually, they're great.
So yeah, this part's an auto-scroller, we can't speed it up. Just have to wait. On the timer. There is one thing we can do during it where we do a checkpoint restart. Oh no, what you do? We checkpoint restart.
You're lucky there, because sometimes you can if you just run off.
Yeah. Whoa.
Oh yeah, by the way, this chapter, when the trucks crash, or when the jeeps crash, they're suddenly made of paper. Some of them will launch.
It's like the gravity changes and just...
Yeah. It just go flying. You'll see it more so during the second half of the chapter when you've got control of that grenade launcher on that truck there.
The one this guy's got that I can shoot in the head a bunch of times and it does nothing.
But you can jump down and punch him in the head and kill him.
You can see blood coming out of him and everything. He's invincible. Yeah, we're going to do a checkpoint restart here. It skips the little cutscene of you taking over. It saves about a second. It doesn't actually save any time because you have to wait for the auto save, but might as well do it.
So yeah, now you're going to watch some of these vehicles get launched like slingshots. Yeah, these games are, on the hardest difficulty, they are really frustrating. So...
Whoa! That. Into the sky.
I think the Uncharted developers, not too long ago, released a tidbit of information regarding the way the health system works in this, which is actually luck-based. So the characters aren't essentially actually getting shot. Apparently, if they're narrowly getting shot, as in like the bullets are just whizzing past them, then essentially that's their luck dropping. And the further their luck drops, it is like a health system, but it's not them actually getting hurt. The point of them dying is when they've been shot.
So this level is the most notorious level in this game, probably. There's a section or a set of airwalks we have to do. There's like 3, and if you fail any of them, you have to do it all over again. Which can cost runs, but I'm a professional.
Quietly now.
This is a great run. It's not like I've lost 10 minutes.
Nice view.
Man.
No, I was talking about the mountains.
So yeah, we can skip this shimmy in here by just jumping at a specific spot there.
What's the luck system? The luck system, so essentially they didn't want the characters to be being shot at frequently, was their idea behind it. So what they said is that for each bullet that is what looks like hitting the character, it's not hitting the character, it's nearly hitting the character. So that then drops their luck down, and when their luck's far enough down, if they get hit in the head or if they then get shot, the last bullet is the bullet that kills them.
So I need to get a bunch of grenades in this area for the next airwalk coming up. But I also need to kill a specific amount of enemies to trigger the next part. So once this sniper spawns, I can just kill the ones that spawn with the sniper. But of course yeah, I'm gonna die. Because
Yeah, unfortunately, the shotgun guy was too close to. Because if it's actually saying that sometimes the system seems to go wrong. The shotgun guys have their shotgun for some reason will. I think it's the number of pellets that come out, but the shells from the shotgun. Sorry. I think essentially even if they're far away,
look at that.
drops the luck.
He
Yeah,
wrecked me. The shotgun guys are the most deadly. Even on the easiest difficulty, they can kill you very quickly.
Looks like your luck's run out.
You're basically on brutal. There is no luck system. You just get shot and die.
Yeah. You literally have a split moment to pop out and try and shoot them. If that bullet's anywhere near you, that bullet will hit.
You could do an airwalk hit a checkpoint, because there's actually a checkpoint right there that's actually really low down for some reason, and we can hit it. This is where the hard part starts. So I'm gonna try and do a zipped airwalk here, which is gonna send me really high as well. If I can get it, it should put me in a specific spot. Oh, I got soft locked with that.
Well, I think at that point you'd have like
No.
what?
So
base?
you only get one try at that one. If you don't get it, then because it puts you up here, so we'll just do the other way. So that would have just been a little bit faster to get, but it's not a big deal.
I believe this is what they call extremely broken.
So we're gonna do another zip. This is probably one of the cooler zips, because you go, but somewhat of a big distance, I guess. We're gonna zip across this bridge. Then into the next area. And we just wait for it to load in.
She's pretty quick.
Flash. Her name is Flash. We've done a little journal extend here to be able to grab the top of this ledge. Then we can use this to get out of bounds.
This is painful here because if it goes wrong, you'll go all the way back to the original point of doing like the first airwalk on the monastery wall. This was notorious for me. For some reason, every time I got this airwalk, I ended up going downwards instead of straight ahead. And you miss the checkpoint trigger. This used to make me cry. This point used to make me cry nearly every single time.
So once the white goes away, we pause. Once it loads in, unpause, and we get a checkpoint. That skips basically to the end of. Well, no, whoa. Okay, I got a zip. Cool. She made to do that. We do another upwards airwalk here to skip this fight. Want to get onto this roof. This one's kind of difficult, and I used to have no trouble with it, but apparently now I can't do it anymore. Yeah, so we get on this roof. And that allows us to skip this fight, because we can get past the cutscene trigger, which would usually trigger the fight. We actually have to kill one enemy here. There's gonna be a few enemies that spawn when we get over here. We have to kill at least one of them. Or the next area won't load. Don't know why. So this guy will pop round, we kill him, and then we're going to do a backwards cover clip here. Get out of bounds. Then we're going to do some precise movements. If we need to angle the camera a certain way here to not deload the area. Then we drop down here and we'll hit a checkpoint. And then we're basically at the end of 23 already. If you're familiar with this game, you'll know how much I just skipped with just those 2 skips. Nice.
Yeah, Golden Abyss was actually a pretty decent game for a big game. The only downside was its puzzles. Its puzzles were a little bit broken. But Matt actually did a speedrun of that recently because of basically essentially a jailbroken PS Vita. After I found out some information, so it is possible to capture a run without getting a capture card for the Vita, as long as you know what you're doing. At some stage, I'm probably going to do a write-up about that, so that is another possibility in the future, but there is a leaderboard for it.
We're getting close, I know it.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my bagtag girl.
There's some doors up here. I need your help.
Yeah, when you soft lock yourself in the airwalk, you keep the animation, you reuse it, so we can do that on this. It doesn't save any time, it's just funny because you have to wait anyway.
Here it is, Elena. The secret
So,
entrance to Ship.
there actually really hasn't been any puzzles. This level has the first technical puzzle that I have to remember in the game, because we skipped most of the other ones.
Backstabbing son of
So
a...
we can't do any stuff in this level because we basically lose all of our stuff. The only thing we can use is the journal, but the journal's kind of useless without a gun, so
Big man with
unfortunate.
that gun, aren't you? Try to keep
Hold
up.
on. Wait for me. Daddy's got a gun.
I can't believe Lazarevich hasn't killed you yet.
So the only really
Give me a boost,
thing to
buddy.
say about this next bit is that when you get into that puzzle room, once you've done the puzzle,
Oh, so hang on. He drops this down for you to use to climb up, but once it hits the ground, you can just climb up the wall anyway.
Stop blocking your path.
I don't get that either. Great game.
yeah, you can position yourself in certain places. Like for example, if you do a cover clip
Go on.
that Matt's probably going to do, or if you climb up onto one of the walls, the
You better not be leading
what
me
we
into
call the
dead
Yeti
end.
is
I think you're gonna get your stomach
not.
through there.
He's gonna like get confused and just stare at you.
If I
think
can,
when you-
if I can get good RNG, I can get my face in his ballsack. It's great. That's what I live for.
Help me move this.
This is the only reason why he does this run, just for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, teamwork. Just like the good old days, eh?
We can skip shimming along this as well, despite running off the edge and jumping.
Now, how do
We never really mentioned that. So in this game as well, you can actually,
cares? We just have to
if
get
you,
up high.
there's like a buffer when you run off of a ledge where you can still jump, which we can use to like run off a ledge and jump from like in midair, as long as you time it right, which allows us to get more distance. But I think it's a pretty common thing in all the games that you can do.
Come on, girly girl. There you go.
Statue of your mom.
Nothing says great RNG like ballsack face.
I really want to get it now because I can show it.
With your ego.
I probably won't though.
Hope you can make that jump on your own. I sure as hell am not gonna help you.
Yeah, so we just have to wait here. Then we're gonna do the first puzzle at the end of the game. Imagine that.
It's a great puzzle.
It's an amazing puzzle.
It takes a lot of effort and skill to do this puzzle. That was sarcasm.
Alright.
Yeah, so there's these big cylinders that we have to turn. So you just have to turn them in a specific order, the right way.
Okay.
Get them in a specific spot.
So what do you have to do? What do we have to do?
Pretty simple.
Just wait here. As usual, I'll take care of everything.
Would you?
Wait.
What?
Those symbols. Those symbols.
Yeah.
Such a little book. Such big cylinders.
All he does is turn them
What's that?
a few times.
Come on. Make
The
yourself
one on the
useful.
right literally just turns once and that's it.
Yeah, you just turn the middle one once to the right. It's not a very convoluted puzzle. It's pretty easy.
What is this?
See now if you do this glitchless, it's quite a few puzzles.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do the thing now. So there's these Yetis. This part's on a timer, and I have to just wait. There's 2 ways you can do this, but I'm gonna do the fancy way. So I'm gonna click myself into the floor so it can't attack me, and hopefully it will just run into my face with its ball sack. Let's go. That's what I live for. Not quite. Let's see if I can move and come on. Turn around. Oh, I can, okay.
Oh, wow,
That'll do.
Now you've just got your head up his ass.
Look at that though in between his legs, Jesus. That's a big one.
Oh, for God's sake. Trust you, Matthew.
Oh yes! No! I had it and he moved.
I think the best thing about this now is if he just ran through the door.
Yes! There we go.
Flipped out.
There we go, look at that. Amazing. Oh yes! Right there.
Oh dear.
You okay?
Okay. So now we're near the end of the game. There's 2 more chapters left. So this is the chapter where using the Japanese version saves in a few seconds. Because there's one specific guardian, which are the blue dudes, you can kill really quickly on this version for whatever reason. You'd actually have to kill these guys, it's not very smart. Just wait. Oh, there's my twin. I think I'm wearing a good outfit for this weather. So yeah, if you've played this game casually, you'll know there's a bunch of fights you have to do in this chapter. It's kind of long, but obviously I care not for doing stuff in video game, and I'm just gonna skip all of it. Not yet though. Gotta fight these guardians first. So these first 2 guardians are the same. It's the one that comes out with the blue grenade that dies pretty much instantly. So you usually have to sit there and shoot him for a while, but I'm literally just gonna shoot him a few times and then go. Just a few little bullets and there he's already dead. That's why Japanese version saves time. Because you can't use the journal here until.
It's a bit of a strange thing to change.
Yeah, I don't know why it happens.
When everything else is the same.
You just keep doing some climbing here despite going to extend into this ledge.
That's a full Elena costume he's put on there. He's pulling it off really well.
What is that?
Even changed his entire body as well. Yeah, so we can actually take cover here. You just aim through it and skip doing that part. I don't actually remember what you do. You shoot the sap. You have to get to like a specific height and then you can shoot the sap thing. To blow it up. But we're not going to do that. So I'm going to do an airwalk here, which is going to skip this entire level straight to the final boss of the game.
It did shrink. He's good. He chopped off a few layers. Also, something else that wasn't mentioned. If you run out of bullets in a gun, if you spam that gun, or if you hold down the button, you will still carry on the faster running animation, because it keeps it. But the minute that you let go of the button, it will try to switch out to a weapon that's got bullets.
Yeah, so we just hit the trigger, and it respawns us at the start of 26, and we just have to jump down here. That trigger that I hit is technically what this cutscene should be to start the fight, but it doesn't start the fight, it just puts you back to the top. We throw a grenade instantly. That's the first phase done. You will not stand in the way of destiny. Oh.
This fight's made easier on Explorer by the fact that you only have to hit him in the head maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
And then explode something next to him, and it will change to the next phase.
Coming up is the best line in the entire game. I wish I could change the Japanese language just for this, but I can't. You have to quit the main menu. Because when you do this in Japanese, it says Draku, which means. So now the last phase, shoot a few times, shoot the slap, done. And now we're at the final part. So get ready on time.
Yep, finger on the button.
Okay. But you can actually die here. This part's no-2. I haven't died here in a long time, but it is actually pretty notorious to die on.
Yeah, for some reason you can sometimes get launched under the map, under the bridge. So you go to jump, but for some reason you just don't grapple properly, and then it just pushes you straight under. It's really weird.
Yeah. This bridge is pretty broken. So when this cutscene starts, Costi, I'm just gonna check on restart and get ready on time. Shoot this guy. Time. It's still a sub 130.
129.
Hey, wasn't 130. Thank you.
Underestimate.
No. Well, that was Uncharted 2. Look now, Nate's back to being Nate and not Elena.
Up we go.
They removed the costume
It was
really
a lie.
quick.
Quick change.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that amazing run.
What the hell did you do back there?
Yeah, thanks guys.